Hey guys, good to connect with you here again. I apologize. I was out of town last week and didn't have any service where I was, so unfortunately wasn't able to post any reviews of the games. But man, what a game seven last night, or at least what a finish to game seven.
Morrison comes right under front. Morrison scores. Brendan Morrison, a silencer. Brendan Morrison in overtime. Listen to this place.
For the first two periods, it was a difficult one to watch if you're a Vancouver fan. The Oilers came out and they played a phenomenal game seven. Vancouver, I think, was a little bit tentative, got caught up in the moment a little bit and made a valiant effort at the end to make it close and have a chance. But at the end of the day, the Oilers win this in seven. So we kind of talked at the beginning of the series here, some thoughts that I had going into the series. And I called two different scenarios. I thought one was Vancouver wins this in six, and they had a chance to do that in Edmonton. Unfortunately, they didn't get it done. And then I said if it goes to game seven, I had a feeling that the Oilers were going to win, and they did. But a couple of things going into this game. I mean, just absolutely horrific luck, or bad luck, let's call it, for Brock Boeser and his situation with the blood clot. I mean, this guy was arguably Vancouver's best player the entire playoffs, was their most dangerous goal scorer, and was having a great series against the Oilers. And to have something like that happen, I mean, it's just devastating, not only for the team, but for him. A big moment, having a chance to play a game seven in your home building, and then finding out that you can't play. I mean, it's just total helplessness. And yeah, I can't even imagine. I feel so terrible for him. And, but as the team, as the group, obviously that's a huge blow. But, you're looking to other guys to step up and try and, not replace Boeser, but just try and, by committee, try and fill the void. And to Vancouver's credit, they did that with Demko going down. All right, Casey DeSmith stepped in the first round. And then it was the Artur Shilov show. I mean, let's call it what it is. I mean, this kid was phenomenal through the entire playoffs. You can say for the first two periods in game seven, this guy's back must be killing him today, because he absolutely carried the team. I mean, out of the gate in the first period, he made some outstanding saves. I mean, just spectacular. I mean, this guy was dialed in. But, we also talked about the importance of special teams, okay? And the Oilers were a juggernaut on the power play coming into this series, and they started hot. They were on fire with their power play, and the Canucks did a good job of figuring out Edmonton's power play in the middle of this series. Kind of games 4, 5, 6 for the most part. They did a really good job, but when it mattered the most, the Oilers' power play came through for them last night. So this game is, a 1-0 game from unlikely characters. Cody Ceci shoots an absolute bomb from the point that goes right under the bar. It's a goal in any league, but the play leading up to that was the icing play, which was unfortunate. I know Myers just wanted to get the puck out of the zone and had a little bit too much on that puck. But if you watch the replay, there's an opportunity for him to bring that puck back and go D to D and maybe go out the weak side. But I don't know if there was any communication from the offside D on that particular play. But again, hindsight's always 20/20. I mean, he's trying to do the right thing. He gets the puck out of the zone, which is the right play, but just a little bit too much. Goes for an icing, and next thing you know, it ends up in the back of their net. At one point here, the shots are 23-4. I mean, it was hard to watch for a little bit. Vancouver just really couldn't generate anything, and I was really surprised because I didn't think the Oilers could play team defense. I really thought that was going to be their downfall. But you got to give them credit. They did what they had to do, and they hung in there. So in the second period here, the Bush bomb, he doesn't shoot the slapper, but he takes a wrist shot there. But again, it's another face-off play where the puck goes back, they go D to D, and Zach Hyman does what he does. He gets right in front of the net. He screens Shilov's again. I mean, everybody thought it was Bouchard's goal. But if you watch in super slow motion, Hyman gets his stick on that. So they're up 2-0. But, halfway through the second, I thought Vancouver started to make a bit of a push. And they started to have a couple good shifts in the offensive zone. And then they take an offensive zone tripping penalty which puts the Oilers back on the power play. You're just playing with fire. Again, Bouchard gets the puck back, and a bit of an unlucky bounce here for the Canucks because the shot's actually blocked. And then I think if the shot doesn't get blocked, the angle of the puck coming off the boards doesn't come to Nugent Hopkins exactly the way it does, but it hits a shin pad up top. It comes off the boards perfectly, and Nugent Hopkins, from a tight angle, shoots short side, and Sheloff dives and just gets his shoulder on it, but it's just a little bit too late. So 3-0, here we go, and Vancouver's been a team of third period comebacks, call it whatever you want, but there's just that slim glimmer of hope that maybe they have a chance to get back into it. And they came out and they battled pretty hard in the third period, and Connor Garland gets them on the board, and I personally felt that he was their best forward last night. I mean, he had a lot of energy, his feet were moving nonstop, and scored a big goal. So now you're thinking 3-1, okay? And Edmonton's kind of changed their style of play. They're not as aggressive up ice. They're kind of allowing Vancouver to break the puck out up the ice, and kind of just retreating to the middle. And Vancouver starts to get a little momentum. They score about 4 minutes later with a nice shot by Filip Hronek, and you're thinking to yourself, is this really happening? It's 3-2 here with a bit of time, right? The Oilers held on. They did what they had to do. I think in the big picture, a few takeaways for me is, nobody really anticipated this Canuck team being in this position at the beginning of the year. And I totally recognize and understand it doesn't make losing last night any easier. But I think you need to build off the positives. I think for 11 players on this roster, it was their first time playing in playoff hockey. So, I mean, the only way you can get experience is going through situations like this and learning from them. So if certain guys can learn from the playoffs, it's only going to serve this team moving forward. So that's a big key. Special teams, like Vancouver's power play, just couldn't get it done. And I know last night Besser was hurt. I get that. But you cannot go 1 for 20 at home in the playoffs. You cannot go 4 games of the second round, the last 4 games of the second round, and not score a playoff goal. I mean, they had a glorious opportunity early in the game here at the end of the first period, a 4-minute power play where Pettersson got a high-sticking double minor on him because he was bleeding, and they didn't even generate a shot on net. They gave up a breakaway, and thank goodness it was Connor Brown on that breakaway because he's had a tough year offensively, and Sheloff shut the door on him. So, I mean, that was, again, you look back, that was a key moment in the game where Vancouver could get something there, get the crowd into the game, right? I mean, get the fans going, create that energy in there. And the fans were good. I mean, they stayed positive all night. There were times when I was thinking to myself, watching this game, okay, just don't negatively impact the team by getting anxious with them. So stay positive, which the fans did. So a ton of credit to them. The other thing I want to touch on a little bit is the coaching, and Rick Tocchet did an amazing job, not only in the regular season but in the playoffs here. He was dealt a hard hand here with the goaltending situation, but again, there was no issue there with Sheloff's coming in. He was outstanding, but he just needed some more from certain guys, right? The depth scoring from the Canucks completely disappeared. I mean, I know everyone points to Pettersson, and when you're a high-profile guy, when you're an all-star, when you just sign a contract averaging $11.6 million a year, you're going to get more scrutiny, just what happens. And, unfortunately, he just completely dried up at the wrong time. I think 2 goals in his last 26 games, 1 goal in his last 15. It's almost a miracle the Vancouver Canucks made it to Game 7 of the second round with Pettersson producing the way he was. So hopefully he can take some things away from the playoffs about what you need to do to be successful. And hey, maybe he's injured. I don't know. Almost everybody's playing with an injury at this time of year, but it would really be nice to see him bounce back in the playoffs, which we're not going to be able to see for another year. But I mean, there's a lot of questions obviously circulating right now about that long-term deal, and there has to be. But anyways, we'll move on from that. But Knobloch, the coach from the Oilers, he pushed the right buttons at the right time, right? I mean, obviously, I think he had to make the move in net with Stuart Skinner. Skinner was not good early in the series, and he goes to Calvin Pickard in games 4 and 5, and he goes 1-1, and actually plays pretty good in game 5. I mean, the Canucks dominated that game. And then Knoblauch goes back to Skinner in game 6, which everyone was kind of thinking is this the right move. But, you know, he's been their guy all season long, and he comes in, and I think he gets the ideal game to play in, because Vancouver really just doesn't generate anything in that game. So he gets to feel comfortable again. Vancouver lets him off the hook. Game 7, same thing. I mean, he only faces 4 shots halfway through the game. I credit to Knoblauch and their coaching staff for, you know, making right moves at the right time. So that was a key. Again, before the series, we talked a little bit about some certain matchups, right? Obviously, McDavid, Draisaitl, all world. You know, Draisaitl, to me, has been the best player in the playoffs. You know, McDavid is McDavid. He does his McDavid things. You know, but Vancouver did a pretty good job overall of containing him for the most part. But, you know, got to give props to Evan Bouchard. I mean, this guy's been absolutely phenomenal in the playoffs. He's got 20 points in 12 games. You know, his comparable on the other side is Quinn Hughes, who I absolutely love and is going to win the Vezina. But Bouchard outplayed Quinn Hughes in this series. And again, a lot of Vancouver's offense from the back end comes from Quinn Hughes. And yes, I know he's targeted. And yes, I know guys finish on him. But that's the same plan for other teams playing against Bouchard. Do you think they don't target him and try to physically wear him down? So, I know Quinn Hughes ended up tied for third in team scoring with Lindholm. He had 10 assists in 13 games, but he has to find a way to be able to score a goal. And again, I think he's going to win the Vezina, and I love Quinn Hughes. He's my guy. He's a Michigan guy. We're Michigan Wolverine alumni, but at the end of the day, I think if there's one area that he can improve on is manufacturing some goal scoring from the back end. But you know, that's a great series, right? Game 7, it can go any way. I mean, I've played in multiple game 7s myself, and ended up on the short end of the stick more times than not, and it's a horrendous feeling. You know, you don't even really want to go out in public, but and it sticks with you for a long time. And there's still some game 7s that I lose sleep over today. So anyways, moving forward here, guys, next year, I mean, Vancouver's got a few decisions to make with some free agents here. Obviously, I think number one thing they have to address is Lindholm and what's going to happen there. He's unrestricted. You know, there's already a lot of rumors out there that Boston's going to come after him hot and heavy. They got a bunch of cap space and money to spend. And there's rumors that they were trying to get him before the Canucks got him this year. So, you know, he had, I would say, an average regular season with the Canucks, but I thought he was a beast in the playoffs. So really proved his worth. And again, I've seen this guy play in Calgary for a lot of years, and he's a tremendous hockey player and a huge, huge asset. So, I mean, that's a key. On the back end, I think they're going to have to make a decision between Zadorov and Tyler Myers. Zadorov is higher risk than a guy like Tyler Myers, but he's much younger, and I think his upside is much higher. And the way his style of play is suited for the playoffs, which I think we all saw here, how he raised and elevated his game. So depending on what Zadorov is going to command, I think will determine whether they bring Myers back or not. Philip Hronik is a restricted free agent. Obviously, he had a phenomenal season, so he's going to be looking to get paid. Dakota Joshua up front had a career year. He's going to be looking to get paid. So a lot of question marks for the Canucks here, but you know, I think overall the season was a huge, huge success. And I think a season where everybody in the organization, the players, management, and the fans can be proud of, right? I mean, they brought some excitement back to Vancouver, and I think some respectability back to the Canuck Hockey Club. So, I mean, it was a lot of fun to watch, and we'll see how this year's experience will pay dividends for them next year. But anyways, guys, I'm going to sign off eventually here. Again, we're just building this thing up. I want to try and get some more hockey content on here that will last longer than just doing recaps of games. You know, eventually get into that, maybe some on-ice stuff. But it's going to take some time to do that. We're coming into the summer. But it's been a fun few weeks. I'm glad you guys have enjoyed it. It's been very positive. And it's something, again, totally different for me. And it's been interesting. So hit the subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed. And we'll keep building this thing up. Okay? Thanks for your time, guys.